Welcome to this episode of the Tokenizer series of the Token Reg Radar interviews, this time with a legal expert from Ecuador. But first, a few words about the Token Reg Radar. The Token Reg Radar is a global radar constantly collecting regulatory news about the token economy and the space of asset tokenization and security tokens. The Token Reg Radar is a SaaS service for lawyers, issuance companies, exchanges, and companies running STOs. To learn more and to subscribe to the Token Reg Radar, please click the link in the description below. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Gabriela Guzmán, who is a partner at Lexvalor law firm in Ecuador. The topic of today's interview will be the regulatory status of the token economy in Ecuador. So welcome, Gabriela. It's good to have you here. Could you start by presenting yourself, and then I would very much like to hear about Ecuador's new fintech bill, which apparently, as I understand it, even includes a definition of security tokens.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, we're very excited about the fintech law, but to start, I'm partner at Lexvalor Abogados. We are a full-service firm assisting clients, of course, here in Ecuador, and of course, we have a lot of international clients, and especially in the area of fintech and new technology. We have been very busy trying to help our clients, or actually helping our clients develop their new ideas, startup ideas, and different products, of course, related to financial products and the technology here in Ecuador, and of course also related to blockchain technology. So we have, of course, all areas of law. Our traditional practice comes from the corporate area, the M&A area, and that has been very, very helpful, because in Ecuador and related also to these new technologies, we see a lot of process related to mergers or acquisitions of this type of companies. So it is important to give the client both worlds, the traditional areas, and also to be very aware of these new areas and how this new technology is, of course, changing business and changing how we do or offer services that are often regulated and in a certain way. And now, of course, they have been disrupted, and even now we see that our National Assembly approved our very first fintech law.
Yeah. Please tell us a bit more about this new law and what the content is, and specifically also about asset tokenization and secure tokens, which is, I understand, covered by the law.
Okay, after a long process, I even participated in the debates before the National Assembly of this fintech law. The final draft of the law was approved by our National Assembly, and now, of course, it needs to go to the executive, to the president for review. So it's not region, or it has not been completely approved, but it's a huge milestone that it has left the General Assembly and go into the hands of the president. The final project does not longer include a definition of a security token. Actually, most of the definitions were erased. There was a section on definitions that was eliminated, but I think that the project still adds a lot of value on blockchain technology token and the securities law, because the project actually reforms articles and the securities law. It also makes amendments, to our financial and monetary code, which includes not only financial services, but also securities market and insurance services. And And focusing on securities law, that law is being amended to integrate technological services or entities that provide technological services specifically based on blockchain technology. So we have not gone that far of defining a tokens or talking about how security tokens will work. We have, of course, a securities authority that authorizes the issuance and the offer of securities. But now, specifically for the securities market, we have an open window of blockchain technology-based services that can be authorized for the securities market, and that gives you as head-ups of how we are evolving and where we're going.
Yeah. Just the simple fact that you had a definition as part of the first draft, and that it's still kind of included in the bill, goes to show that there must be quite an interest in Ecuador on these matters. Could you tell a bit more about how that is and what the story behind this interest is?
Absolutely. I think in Ecuador, legislation and has been using this modernization focus, and it has been here for a while. Actually, in 2020, we have a modernization law for our companies law. And in that law, you can find that for corporations and simplified corporations that were also included in that particular year here in Ecuador, it's called the SaaS, we have the possibility to represent the shares from those companies in tokens. And that's included in the law. And I'm very proud to say that. And that has, of course, solved a lot of problems that traditional ways to represent this type of assets have, of course, and the complexity of identifying who the owner or the actual shareholder of a company is. But that also gives us the possibility to use those assets in a more efficient way. For example, when we want as a company to give guarantees of something with our very own shares, when we have that represented in a token, it gives more confidence. It's something based on blockchain technology, something that cannot be changed, or it is immutable. It goes into a trustless technology, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. So I'm very, very proud to say that that modernization law and how we are thinking about these new technologies and how they interact with day-to-day transactions is something that have been on the radar of our legislators, and is something we are very much happy to integrate. We don't want to. I don't think we are hyper-regulating anything. I think we are just recognizing that there are new ways to do things and better ways to introduce these technologies into, of course, something so innovating as tokenization of share certificates, for example.
Yes, I saw that this Corporate Modernization Act was approved in 2020. And doesn't that put you as a country in a leading position in your region?
Yes, I believe that we are sending a message. We are open to it. I think that there have been other countries have their fintech law approved, of course, longer than we have our own bill, but we are sending a message that we are welcoming for this type of technologies, that we know that this is the new wave we need to not only understand but give some legal certainty to the general public that is going to be using of course, or benefiting from the use of this technology in different sectors.
And is that a general opinion among regulators and politicians in the countries, that they understand what's the potential here, and they want to utilize it as much as possible going forward?
Well, I think the very first basis of innovation is, of course, education, and we are trying to educate everyone involved, not only people involved in a starting up, or not only the general public, but our own authorities that are that for them these concepts are very new. And I think we are all making the effort on first educating about these new technologies, about how we can use it, and of course also to make to determine the areas of risk where maybe we can see that we're using a new technology to do or to offer a service, but that service is regulated, that service is a financial service, that service needs to get a prior authorization from the authority before you can, of course, offer it to the general public. It doesn't matter that we are using a new technology, it still need to follow with the regulation, and that's how actually the fintech law was developed and written. So I think we are all aware that this initial phase of education needs to keep going on. We want to protect, of course, consumers and the general public, but we don't want to also make that an excuse to stop innovation. So I think you need a good balance in that part to, of course, continue to improve innovation, but also protecting the general public or the consumers.
Does this new law allow companies in Ecuador to make security token offerings, STOs, already today, or is that still too early?
We are not there yet. The securities law is and the securities market is highly regulated. When you want to offer securities, you need to have an approval, and to offer them in the form of tokens is not something that pursuant to our law is possible. We use there is a other type of regulation, but as I mentioned, with this new fintech law, we do see technology services or entities that provide technology services to the securities market being included, and one of the services they provide is blockchain technology. So that gives us a head up to where we're going. Of course, also considering that closed corporations, or corporations that are not registered or listed in the securities market, have the opportunity or have now the possibility to represent their shares in tokens. Maybe we are not at the point of saying we have STOs, but we are in a point that there has been some more private offering of tokens, or the possibility to invest in companies that are open to receiving funds from direct investors and receiving in exchange these shares represented, of course, in tokens.
Okay, so you are differentiating here between a tokenized security, a traditional security which is tokenized, and a security token. Is that right?
Yes, that's absolutely what I meant. If we have the traditional security asset, and that has a very high regulation, and of course we know we can find the possibility of having an e-security token, but as I mentioned, we don't have yet that specifically authorized here, of course, in the country. If we have, for example, a company that has their shares represented in token, I think we could maybe call it it would be proper to say that that's an equity token, and that is what it has been privately being offered to investors that are interested, for example, in participating in a specific company, for example.
Mm-hmm. So, but these things are most likely going to develop further in the coming years, or how do we expect that to play out?
Absolutely. I believe this is going to change, to rapidly change. We are now offering, of course, a technology that has been proven to be better for attracting investment, for eliminating intermediaries, and actually making a more dynamic market. So we, of course, need to I believe this is going to be changing, and there, as the dynamics and the economic changes and all the activities around it is going to change. Then the regulator is going to see that we need to, of course, make adjustments in the regulation, and particularly the securities market in Ecuador has been harmed by some scandals, and a lot of confidence have been lost by the general public. And if we had a very small securities market, when, and for example, the intermediary that where these the intermediaries have also failed, blockchain technology is a good solution for giving strength back to the securities market here in Ecuador. So I believe after lessons learned of how institutions can fail, we have, of course, technology that can avoid that from happening again.
As I understand it, currently the securities market in Ecuador is a market for professional investors only. Do you expect it to stay like that, or could you imagine that it will open up to be a more democratized market, including small retail investors as well, going forward?
Well, yes, I think that's an ambition that this market gets more democratized, and it could include people, and also other type of initiatives for of course being able to obtain funds, and for people to being able to participate in investment have been open, for example, with regulations and the inclusion of crowdfunding here also in Ecuador in the past years. So I think we're going to see in all of this environment, maybe in a more specialized sectors as the securities market, or in a small or less specialized sectors as we can find maybe in a crowdfunding project, we're going to find that the people will be incentivized to participate, as we find that technology that gives securities to them is being implemented. But of course, as what we want here is to promote and to, of course, grow and develop, for example, the securities market. And we hope that it is stopped being so restrained for a specific group, and it can be open, and it can actually grow here in the country.
When it comes to the development of blockchain technology, are there any countries in the region or outside, for that matter, that you think has been a source of inspiration for your country?
Well, I believe that Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, they all have they are a bit behind us, and they have been given examples of how to be open to innovation and how to start regulating it without, of course, forcing or prohibiting or without being against innovation. But I think we are marking our own path of what we want to regulate. If you review the project of the fintech law, we don't include yet things that we are not ready, or we are still seeing how they are actually being integrated. For example, there is nothing about cryptocurrencies or that that type of asset, and I think they have started with critical services that needs to that the authority needs to review the actual risk they are representing to the consumers, because they are involved in financial services or security services or insurance services, which are areas that where we want to, of course, protect the consumer and to analyze the financial risk they are represented. So in a way, we're following our own path. I believe that the regulation is going to be good for innovation, for financial inclusion, and for protecting the consumer, but also for the development of these three specific areas where we will going to find, of course, these new technologies being developed in the offering of services and products to the general public in Ecuador.
Could you tell us about the types of clients that you are assisting as a company? What are the clients asking and looking for?
Yes, of course. I think everyone is amazed by these new technologies, and it has been the reason that very interesting products have been developed. And maybe because of the use of this new technology, we think that something is by the use of this technology is different, but in the end you are providing a service that was already there in of course a new form. And most of them first need an analysis on if they are able to do that or actually not, and then an analysis on what type of authorizations do I need if I want to do it. So we have been working, of course, with a lot of different type of payment companies that use technologies for the development of payment, and that has been something that I believe has contributed a lot in the country, because we have problems with people in Ecuador not being part of the banking system. But we are all, of course, owners of a cell phone. And with that, we have been able to democratize that financial services and actually get payments done in different ways for basic needs, products or services, or any type of payment. And there is a regulation over that, and we have helped our clients understand how they can, of course, get their project running, what type of authorizations do they need, and how they can interact with, of course, traditional financial institutions, which have now learned that these new type of companies are allies or are helping them get to a sector they were not attending. And that have been something that we have seen a lot here in Lexvalor. Also, we have, of course, the other type of projects related to scoring of people about their credits. That's something that's quite difficult if that person didn't have, for example, a bank account. If they want to get a credit scoring, they will not be able, because it's like they don't exist for the financial system, but they have actually made purchases on other places, and that has helped them, of course, prove that they were able to comply with any type of obligations and to get credits in for other services and before other type of entities, for example. And other fund projects related also to, for example, NFTs, not only for artists, but also for carbon credits to represent that. And that project was particularly interesting because the carbon market is a market that is based on trust, and to be able to offer this NFT with the security that you are not selling the same portion of land to 4 or 5 people, it's something that has been very, very interesting and well accepted by the clients in that project. So we have been everywhere talking about blockchain technology. Of course, cryptocurrency is something that we are also always analyzing, but I think that the projects that we see are going to be as diverse as the economic activities that can be performed, and we are proud on giving the advice and the starting hit to this type of projects here in Ecuador, so they can of course be perform under the regulation.
So a lot of things are going on in the fintech and blockchain and the NFT space among companies in Ecuador. When talking about NFTs, by the way, have you had any discussions whether or when an NFT is actually a non-fungible token, as it should be, or when it might be something else, a security, for instance?
Well, we have not had that discussion yet. Actually, that the NFT assets, for example, are not even regulated. They are not part of the fintech bill. And okay. But I believe that's the type of discussion we're going to have in the following years. Maybe I'm saying something that I'm calling an NFT, but if I actually analyze, I'm selling or offering a security or an investment vehicle to an investor, and the authority and of course lawyers, we are going to not only understand the technology but also make an analysis of what we are actually doing. If we maybe represent that in something different, but in essence we still find that there is an investment contract and we are still offering this to the public, and we need to be very careful, and I believe we're going to see a lot of that.
Thank you very much, Gabriela, for participating in today's interview, and thank you to all the viewers of this episode of the Token Reg Radar interview brought to you by the Tokenizer. We will be back soon with yet another episode and with yet another exciting legal expert as guest. Meanwhile, please visit the Tokenizer and please check out the Token Reg Radar on regradar.thetokenizer.io. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.